Hey, what's up, guys? So, you saw the title of the video. So, basically, after watching this video, you'll never have to learn anything else about warming up ever again. If you think so. But I'll let you determine that. No, but seriously, this is a collection of exercises that I've been using for some time now that I really like. I won't stick with these routines the rest of my life because I think the longer you spend with a warm-up routine, the more you kind of start doing it just out of habit, and you don't necessarily have to put a lot of focus into it. You just kind of know it naturally. But any type of practice routine, I think, you should give yourself at least 6 months bare minimum to really develop yourself with whatever exercises you're using, okay? So the particular routine I'm going to show you here, I think is particularly good if you're looking to become more familiar and fluent with the modes of melodic minor scales, as well as harmonic major. Two exercises here, I'm going to use regular major scale modes, and nothing here is harmonic minor, but obviously keep in mind that anything that I'm showing you here, you can obviously do with any scale you want, and you can mix and match, make variations and all that, okay? And also a thing to note is, the stuff I'm showing you here is primarily used as a warm-up, but in terms of what areas of your playing it's going to also help develop is, obviously becoming more fluent in whatever scale you're using here, like your scale type playing, but also your rhythm, because when you're playing these exercises, the idea is to play them in time with good feel and all that, so this will definitely help develop your rhythmic sensibility as well, okay? But there's two other, I'd say, main areas of practice that this won't necessarily help you develop, but I suggest that you also focus on these areas of playing as well. And one is basically any type of chordal playing, which basically means like just, anything with chords, specifically moving from like one chord voicing to the other, taking a voicing shape and moving it through a scale and stuff like that, because this you're just playing one note at a time. So when you're playing chords, obviously the technique is a little different. And also the other type of area of focus, it has to do with, I guess, kind of like chords as well, but basically just literally doing anything through a set of chord changes, okay, whether that's linear playing or more chordal, because when you focus on making chord changes, I think that takes a specific area of the brain that you don't necessarily use in these warm-up exercises here, because here we're just focusing on one main scale at a time, okay? And most of these exercises that we're going to get into here are really scalar exercises. There's one that is with triads or arpeggios, but all the other ones are scales, okay? And then just two other quick points before we get into it is, first, with the exception of the first exercise, because that's the only one you'll see, the point of the first exercise is to kind of take it through the circle of fourths. All the other ones, typically for all the other exercises, I do them through all the modes of whatever scale I'm working through, and I'll do them like one after another. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you all the following exercises with just one mode each, just for convenience sake and not to make the video too long, okay? And then the other last thing before we get into it is that, I would obviously recommend that you do all these exercises with a metronome. Lately, I've actually been doing most of them, except for the last set of exercises, without a metronome. But again, I've been doing these exercises for a while now. I still wouldn't recommend that, but I'm kind of comfortable and I can still kind of practice them with a good sense of timing. But the last set of exercises, which are the harmonic major ones I'm going to show you, those I do every time with the metronome, so that's what we'll do here, okay? So we'll just get into it, okay? Now, when I do this, I pick a key every day, and I just kind of go down chromatically. So like the highest position I might do these in would be like F up here, and every day I'll move down chromatically to a new key and G flat there, and then after that I'll move back up. So this way, day to day, I'll kind of hit the different keys And you'll notice when you do it like that, like it's funny, like this middle range here really is the sweet spot even in terms of comfort, because it's funny, like I'll get down to G flat here and everything will feel like a stretch, but when you move it up to F, it'll feel like more comfortable, like you're not stretching as much, but even this, it's like almost like your fingers are too close together, so you'll kind of notice, at least the way I think, here is really like the sweet spot for making the exercises really feel fluent. Okay, so the first 3 exercises are going to be using melodic minor. So the first one, basically what it is you're going to play the melodic minor scale through the circle of fourths, but staying in one position. Okay, so today, of course, we'll just pick to do everything in C. So basically what that means is this. If we start in C, we're going to play a melodic minor scale first. I'm going to play it out of time first, and then I'll actually just show you this whole exercise. So basically, you're going to play the scale C melodic minor, okay? And then as soon as you're done, you're going to I go through the circle of fourths, so that would be going to F next. So basically, you want to stay in position, okay? So you kind of have to know, like, what mode of F melodic minor would be in this position here, which in this case would be C Mixolydian flat 6. So that would be like the next scale that you play, okay? So you can try to do this whole thing without stopping. Of all 12 keys, 7 of them you should be able to stay with starting on that same C note there, and then the other 5 you'll have to shift to position up or down a fret to make it work. So I'm not going to go into detail here in terms of like which mode it fits that position for whatever melodic minor scale you're in, but I'll just kind of play through it just so you can see how it sounds. And also, so some of the exercises I'm going to show you later, you'll see I kind of do them with like different feels, but a lot of these I'll do mainly with a little bit more of a swung 8th note feel, okay? So let me just play. So again, this is the only one that I'm going to actually just play through the whole exercise, the whole thing. So this is it. And then the last one, I'll just play C again. Okay. So you can see, I went through the circle of fourths, mainly just staying in one position. And that's a good thing to know, because from a scale point of view, you should know from any general position, unless you have to shift up or down a fret, like what modal pattern works to fit that melodic minor scale. Okay? So that's the first one. Okay, the second exercise is going to be the only one that we're using triads instead of scales, but we're kind of taking it through a scale. So, like I said, for all the rest of the exercises in this video, I'm only going to show you it with one mode, but the idea is to do them through all the modes of whatever scale you're working with. So here, we're still doing melodic minor, and basically what the exercise is you're just going to go up the scale in that position, but alternating triads of that scale up and down. So basically, C melodic minor will be this. Before I do this, let me just also point out, well actually here, let me do it first, basically. Sorry. Okay, and when I do this here, so day to day, I'll kind of alternate the rhythm. That was more of like an even eighth note feel, but sometimes I'll do it, or I'll alternate it with like a triplet feel, and that works for this because obviously triplets is an even grouping of 3, and triads are 3 notes, so it fits nicely. So the triplet feel of this exercise would basically be. Okay, and then again, after that, the next mode would be Phrygian natural 6, so you do the same thing with that, starting on C, then Lydian augmented, Lydian dominant, and so on, all starting on C. Okay, so then we have one more exercise with melodic minor, and so this exercise and one that's coming up later are two sort of patterns that I actually made a previous video about. The video might be called something like 2 cool scale patterns that you can apply to guitar or something like that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on like what the pattern is for those, because you can just watch those videos to learn it. But I'll just play through it really slow here. So this one basically with C melodic minor, this is what the pattern would be. It'd be. Okay, it's a really cool pattern to learn. It's a little tricky at first, but I enjoy using it. And then when I do this again for each mode, I actually play through it twice, and I don't know why, but with this particular exercise, I like to play it once, all picking, and then once with hammer-ons and pull-offs to kind of give it more of like a legato feel, because I kind of think this particular sequence sounds good like that as well. So I'll also do it like that, where it's like okay, a little sloppy there, but you get the idea. Again, you take that through all the modes. Okay, so that's all the melodic minor. Okay, then after that, I have 2 major scale exercises, okay? And the first one, basically this is a cool sequence where you're basically going to play, the pattern is you're going to start on the root note. So here I'll do a C major scale, and the pattern is, and this is all diatonic obviously, you're going to go up a 5th, up a 2nd, down a 5th, and then that would be the start of the next one. Or I'm sorry, then you'd be going up a 2nd again. So from the beginning again, go up a 5th, up a 2nd, down a 5th, up a 2nd. Okay, and then you would continue that pattern. So slowly. So this exercise I also play 2 times with each mode, and I do the first one with like a even 8th note feel, and then the second one with the triplet feel. So the even feel first. Messed it up a little bit, but you get the idea. And then with the triplet rhythm. Okay, and also just the way I do it. So only for that Major Ionian mode is the only one that I do where I kind of shift up position a little bit, but all the other modes I tend to keep it locked into that position. So just to kind of show you at least just one time through, maybe with like the C Dorian scale, you'll see where I kind of just stay in one position here, basically. Okay, so that one I stayed in one position, and I'll do the same thing with all the other modes, again, both an even rhythm and a triplet rhythm. Okay, and then I'll do one more exercise with major scale, and this is the second exercise or sequence that was part of that other video that I made before. Again, I'll link it in the description, but it's like 2 cool like sequences to apply to guitar or something like that. So this one, if we're doing C Major Ionian, whatever mode I'm using, I start on the high E string, and it's just a descending pattern, and I start on the 9 of that scale. So if that's the root, that's the 9 or 2nd. So I'm starting for C Ionian over here, and I'll do it slow. And this one I also do with both rhythms. I actually start with the triplet rhythm here, since this one is more naturally a triplet type pattern, and then I do it again, but with an even feel. So let me play through it first. I'll do it slow, and then I'll do them more sped up. It's basically... Okay, so a little bit more sped up, but still triplet rhythm. Okay, and then the even feel. Okay, and like I said, again, we'll take that through all the modes, and that's it for major scale. Okay, then for me, before I finish it off, I do like this separate thing. I don't know why, I'm weird, and I like to do something else for a minute before I continue the exercises. But to finish it off now we're going to finish off with the harmonic major, okay? And like I said, when I do these, I always use the metronome. So now for these, obviously, especially in the jazz world, people tend to put the clicks. If they're going to do 2 clicks in a 4/4 time, they'll obviously put them on the 2 and the 4. I'll kind of alternate though, honestly. Like one day I'll designate those clicks to be 2 and 4, and then the next day, just to kind of switch it up, I'll make them 1 and 3. And I don't know if that is messing me up or if that's even a good idea, but that's just what I do right now. So basically what I'm going to do here, and again, we're doing harmonic major here, I take these through all the modes, but I'm just going to show you right now with just one of the modes. So we'll take the first mode, which is the actual harmonic major scale. Okay, and basically what I do is for each mode, I'm just going to play the scale for the most part up and down with different rhythms, okay? And again, because this is the scale that I'm the least familiar with, so I thought it would be a good idea to just take them through all the modes and just kind of playing them up and down with good feel, okay? So today we're going to put the click on 2 and 4, and the first thing that I do is I play this scale up and down in 1/8 notes. But what I do is I ascend with like an even feel, and then I descend with the swung feel. And when I play it swung, I almost intentionally exaggerate the swing. Because sometimes people, when you're talking about that swing feel, you know, you want to have that swing, but people say you don't want to make it so like herky-jerky and corny sounding. But I will almost intentionally make it corny sounding right now, because I kind of want to drastically feel the difference between feeling it straight and feeling it swung. So first in 1/8 notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the first thing I do. And just a side point I want to make here, you know, like I said, this stuff is going to be really good for improving your rhythm, like all these exercises. And, you know, just so you kind of know, like, people might think, like, oh, like, doing this type of stuff might be boring, although if you're serious about your music, I'm sure you won't find it boring. But almost like a good metric for how you know, like, your rhythm and your feel's getting better is even doing something as simple and boring as that, like playing a scale up and down in 1/8 notes, that should be fun to you, okay? If you're not having fun playing a scale up and down, like, in time with a meter, then something's not right. So even when you're doing something like that, I'll do one more time. I'll kind of make an ass of myself right now, but it's like you kind of want to have fun playing it up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you really want to feel it. Again, doing this day in and day out, you're going to build that consistency. I guarantee your rhythm will improve, okay? So then after that, then we're going to play up and down in 1/16 notes. But I'm going to do it twice. First time with a straight feel up and down, and second time with a swung feel up and down. And usually, like, because this is a slow tempo, so that's why, like, I usually don't practice, like, swinging 1/16 notes, but when you're playing at a slow tempo like this, you can almost swing them. So first time through is straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I definitely rushed those. But then we're going to swing it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. after that, we're going to do it 2 more times. Okay, first time, they're actually both going to be with pentuplet rhythms. So pentuplet is basically 5 notes per quarter note, 5 even notes. So I'm going to play the scale up and down, but in pentuplet. So basically 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 3, 4. Okay, and then you'll do also pentuplets, but I'm going to apply that to this common sequence of playing things in thirds, basically. That type of sequence, but doing that in pentuplets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that's it, and like I said, I'll take it through all the modes, and maybe just because I kind of broke up that last group of exercises, talking about it, I'll do them again with one other mode of the harmonic major scale, just so you can kind of see how they work back to back. Okay, so maybe I'll pick, how about the, let's just do the next mode, which is, Dorian flat 5, okay? So all those rhythms back to back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sloppy. Okay, those are tricky, that last one, but it's actually an awesome thing to add to your playing if you can get it down with any scale. Okay, so that's about it. So again, obviously we didn't take each of those exercises through all the modes, but usually when I do this, when I first started doing this routine, it would take maybe about a half hour, but now, especially if I don't use the metronome on a lot of them, I can get through it all in less than a half hour, sometimes maybe 20 minutes or 15, 20 minutes. So, like I said, I guarantee if you kind of run through these exercises, it's going to be slow at first, but you just want to do it day to day because you're trying to build that consistency and just getting it to that point where it all sounds natural. So then when you actually play for real in the moment, you'll have a lot more fluidity as far as your linear playing goes and your familiarity with different scales. So, and even, hopefully if you're just looking for some new exercise or something, hopefully this can kind of stimulate your mind and in terms of thinking about different ways to warm up and practice. So, hope you enjoyed that and enjoy your day.